participants and our two eminent speakers of today's event, Mr. Swaminathan and Mr. Rajiv. Welcome both of you, sir, to this IMC event. I would like to just brief about the background of this series of events. This IMC Navi Mumbai in the month of January have conceived the idea of establishing a platform for the development of entrepreneurs and startups in Navi Mumbai, because we feel that Navi Mumbai is a place where upcoming industry, startups, and new entrepreneurs can set up their base with a great success rate. And I have given you in my earlier deliberations that why Navi Mumbai is the fittest place for the startups. Now, the panel available at IMC platform to help the entrepreneurs consist of people from industry, people from education background, people from government department for compliances, etc., people from bank. There are various stages to guide the startups and entrepreneurs. IMC platform will be available to help these people to set up their business, to grow, to follow all the compliances, to arrange the funds, to learn about marketing skills. Now, our flagship event on this topic was held on 12th of January with the large participation of 160 participants. And that followed a series of events, weekly events. Today's is the fourth of that series. The topic is Recipe for Success of Innovation and Technology. Now, as I understand, being a simple, small scale industrialist, innovation is the backbone of success. I would like to give one very simple example how this automobile industry in this tough time is surviving. Every day there is an introduction of new model with lot of technology development. The features which used to be available in high-end luxury cars are now available in entry-level cars. And that attracts the customers to go for those kind of models and to replace their old models. When we talk about industry or any business to innovate, I feel that your own product should become obsolete in shortest possible time with the innovation so that your customers will be tempted to buy new and new products from you. And this is how this industry is surviving in today's tough time. And that is going to be the backbone of success and survival in days to come, because the way technology is developing, it's going to be very fast paced, and replacing the thing which is introduced today will be obsolete the next year or the next month. This is how innovation is taking shape. So, of course, I am not the authority to speak on this subject. We have got two eminent speakers. They will definitely throw more and more light for the coming up industrialists. But this is how I feel that innovation is the backbone of success. I think from my side, that's all. Let the speakers take over.
Thank you so much, sir. And you absolutely rightly said that innovation and technology, I think, is the disruptive. I mean, we are living in a very, very disruptive world. So, without taking much time, let me just give you what exactly you're going to expect over the 1.5 hours today. So, make sure that you are there till the end so that you get every drop of knowledge what our eminent speakers are going to share with us. And with this, I hand it over to Shweta for the introduction for our wonderful speakers today.
Yes, Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Jain sir. Welcome to both our speakers today, and a big welcome to all participants. Few things, quick check, audio, video, please be interactive in the chat. We will record, we will respond to you. We are sure you are getting our invitations. Please reach out to us in case you are not getting the recordings, invitation, or you are not getting the follow-up to this series. So here we have Nitin Bhapkar from IMC Navi Mumbai office to help you. Nitin, please share your contact details in the chat window. Please note his contact details. A lot of you keep messaging us, for requirements or work that you have at IMC. So he's the contact point for all of you. Please reach out, and any help that we can, we'll be most happy to do it. So I am a part of the Navi Mumbai Expert Committee, and we are working under the guidance of Jain sir. So let me introduce our speakers today. So I don't know how many of you here have been a part of sessions that we have done with Mr. Swaminathan. He is the founder and CEO of Iris Business Services Limited. So it provides structured data solutions, creating, collecting, and consuming business and financial data. So that is what they do, and he has had tons of experience across industry in media. And if you look at his experience, I'm sure we will also share his profile and coordinates LinkedIn profile. It will be great if all of you can go and check Mr. Swaminathan's profile. Now let me come to our second speaker. So, Mr. Rajiv Vaishnav, such a long and illustrious intro, but I'll try to sum up in a few words. And anyways, when our speakers talk, all of you will get a glimpse of their knowledge, and I'm sure you will take the interaction to the next level. He is the co-founder and MD at Cornerstone Venture Partners Fund. So this fund, primarily invests in technology startups, and that is why it gives him experience across the spectrum of technology companies. And also he has been in various bodies, industry bodies, experience both our panelists have today. The idea is to answer, so this is after the discussion, we would want all of you to keep your questions flowing in. I will help Divya with the questions, and we will take in as many questions as possible. So my last remark, innovation and technology go hand in hand. The machine and the man have to work together for the future to realize and to make innovation happen. All over to you. Thank you so much for being our guests and panelists today.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Rajiv and I had a chat yesterday about this session. And so the first thing we decided was that hum bhashanbazi nahi karenge. You want to call it innovation? Please call it innovation. I've been to many seminars where people deliver long speeches and people fall asleep. And on the video terminal, you don't even know who's falling asleep. So my request to you is keep interrupting us, keep asking questions at any point in time. The second thing is, so why did I, when Jain Saab called, you can't say no to Jain Saab when he invites you to come and talk. And secondly, I grew up in Calcutta where if you get an audience of one, you start talking. So the reason why it was very interesting is because when you see the heading, the title of the whole thing, it says recipe of success with innovation and tech. It doesn't say successful recipe. मतलब खाना बनाओ पर कैसे टेस्ट कर रहा है किसी को पता नहीं है. So खाना बनाना आता है, हाँ बनाना आता है. स्वादिष्ट है, कौन जाने? Because as a company, we are a very unsuccessful company. We're not a successful company. So when we were discussing this whole thing, somebody was talking to me about how to schedule seminars with a good audience. एक पैसे देने वाले को डाल दो और लोग आ जाएंगे. So एक बैंकर को रख दो और आज के दिन में एक VC को रख दो तो भीड़ खुद आ जाएगी. So the person who's more important to you, please direct all the questions to Rajiv. He's the money bag here. He's the guy who gives money. So आपका innovation का जो पैसा चाहिए वो राजीव देगा. But in the course of the chat that we had yesterday, one thing came through. So I'm the horse. I don't know where I'm going. But lagan hai uske haath mein, Rajiv ke haath mein. So he is the guy who decides in advance what innovation should be funded, what innovation need not be funded, what innovation he thinks will succeed, what innovation he thinks won't succeed. मैं तो फंस गया. वो कहते हैं ना, when talking about the breakfast between the bacon and the egg, the chicken was involved and the pig is committed. So यहाँ पे I am committed, I am the pig. So Rajiv is the guy who allocates money. Not every innovation requires money. But if you need money, Rajiv and similar venture capitalists decide what will get funded, what will not get funded. So I just thought I'll start with a question for Rajiv. You have funded many companies in this fund of yours. You've been with NASSCOM for a long, long time. When you hear people talking about innovation, can you immediately react and say, "A chalega, A nahi chalega"? What sort of innovations actually succeed, Rajiv?
So first of all, Swami, before I answer your question, let me thank IMC for giving this wonderful opportunity, and to you for thinking of me. My association with IMC is way old. And right from when Mr. Ramu Pandit was the Secretary General, since then, I think 1987 onwards, I'm in touch with IMC. So it's a great honor to be here. Nayan Bhai is also here. And Nayan Bhai, sir, very good afternoon to you. And so nice meeting you through Zoom today. So yes, a lot of memories when we talk of IMC. And therefore, I'm a bit emotional today. And thank you for this. Swami, when you are asking this question, and you know, guys, you know Swami more than, though I can't say more than I know, because I also know him quite well. And therefore, when he asked me to come and speak, like how he said that if Jain Sahab asks him, he can't say no. So for me also, it is similar that when Swami says, Rajiv Aja, I have no choice but to come. And I know for sure what's going to happen for this 1.5 hours. You guys are going to enjoy, and what I'm going to face are the pointed questions by Swami, and so I'm reminded of a couplet in a situation like this when you have to encounter Swami's attack. अब बाहर निकल कि अपना अपना हुनर आजमाएं, अब बाहर निकल कि अपना अपना हुनर आजमाएं. That's a situation, my situation today. It's a very unique question that you have put across, that it's so very difficult. होता क्या है कि लोग सक्सेस मिलने के बाद तारीफ करना शुरू करते हैं. मैं तो जानता था, जब भी मेट में दारा सिंह का कैरेक्टर अगर आपको याद हो तो बहुत बढ़िया कैरेक्टर, you know, a typical character which says कि I तो knew from the very beginning that this is going to happen. और ये innovation का भी ऐसा ही कुछ मामला है कि when you invest in a particular startup or in a particular idea or in a particular team, it's not just one thing that you are looking at. And you know, that leads me to another anecdote or a story. And if you don't mind, I just want to say that so that it sets the backdrop of today's topic, right? The story goes like this, that there was a king who was a great marker himself. He was very good marker. And once he was taking a round of his kingdom, he was crossing through a village. And he was amazed with the kind of bullseye that he's seeing on every tree, on every wall, on every fence, wherever he sees that somebody had aimed so beautifully that it was always the bullseye that he could hit. And he himself was like kind of challenged internally. So he called his soldiers and said, just find out who is this marksman in this village. I want to meet him. Soldiers went around and brought somebody who was appearing to be a kind of a madman. He was so casual, he was so dirty, he was in his own world. And King was surprised, and King said, are you the marksman who has done all this? He said, yeah, I'm the guy. He said, but I mean, I myself am a good marksman, but I cannot hit bullseye every time. It's a matter of chance. It's a matter of art, I know, but not every time. But how could you do this? And the guy smiled, actually laughed, and he said, you know, Rajaji, what I do, I first aim. Once the arrow hits the wall or the tree or the fence, then I draw circles around it. So this is what, if I would want to say that this is what could be the success around innovation, that something is successful, and then I'm here to say, hey, I invested in that because I knew exactly that this is going to be the unicorn. That's not the case actually. Success or innovation as such, if we confine it only to an idea, or if we confine it only to the team, or there are many things. In fact, you know, again, at IMC Walchand Hall, at Churchgate office, way back in 2000. And so, I mean, I don't know whether you attended that event of TIE, where we had Shabir Bhatia. Yeah. And I'm sure the the participants would recall, Shabir Bhatia is the founder of Hotmail, right? Shabir came and we had this event, the Thai event at Walchand Hirachand Hall in the top floor of IMC. 400, 500 people packed to capacity were there. And Shabir Bhatia talked about, and so we had requested him to tell us about how he went ahead with the negotiation with Bill Gates. And there was a lot of excitement. And Shabir Bhatia was a poster child for the Indian entrepreneurs that, एक Indian banda US में जाके इतना successful हो गया, इतना wealth create किया. This is amazing. Shabir Bhatia talked about his negotiation with Bill Gates. He said, I was called on a Friday afternoon. I went to Microsoft office and I went to Mr. Bill Gates' office. This was a huge room and Mr. Gates was sitting on a chair and he was looking on the floor while I was pitching. And I pitched for 45 minutes with a lot of passion, aggression. His question was, how can a free email make money? And I was trying to explain to him the innovation behind Hotmail and the thought process behind Hotmail. After 45 minutes, he never looked at me. He was constantly looking at the floor. After 45 minutes, he looked up outside the window and he said 440 million. And that was the end of negotiation. Now, in the same breath, this gentleman talked about failure of Arzu. On one side, when he's talking about what he has achieved through his innovation, his startup, Hotmail, in the same breath, he's talking without hesitation, without blinking his eye. He's saying that my next venture, Arzu, was a failure. Either I was ahead of time, or the business model didn't work, or this didn't work, that didn't work. But that is what, in sum total, when you look at, we call it whether success or failure. I think the learning that come out of all these examples are very important for people like us who are constantly looking for a formula that is innovation, technology, success, whatever we call it. Though a long answer, I don't know.
Rajiv, we were also discussing yesterday. That innovation doesn't have to be something big. There are small steps one can actually take, which ultimately adds up to something much bigger.
No, don't start on that, because then I'll remember another story, which is very close to my heart. Very close to my heart.
Please.
And I'm telling you, sorry about this, but
Rajiv, I'll interrupt here. I also want Rajiv to talk about another thing, because I think one of the reasons why people don't talk about the things they try to do is for the fear of failure. And this is one story I certainly want Rajiv to talk about. Rajiv's first MC act for Mr. Sen on the stage, which is which he'll tell you the story. But I want to hear both stories from you, because two things I want to talk about. One is innovation is not Big Bang. It can be some talking about it.
In fact, I would like to, just add to what Swami sir and Rajiv sir has mentioned, that stories are indeed wonderful and powerful way of communicating the right and crisp message. So we would be really happy to, listen to those interesting stories. So please go ahead, Rajiv.
Which is why the Rishi Munis and Jesus also told stories and also told parables to convey message to people. So हमारे modern day sant hai Rajiv ji.
Please go ahead. So we would love to hear those stories, please.
Okay.
So I would like to interrupt the eminent speaker, Rajiv ji. I forgot to tell Mr. Swaminathan is, I know him for last 15 years. He is one of our rather only life member of IMC Navi Mumbai membership. Sorry, sir, patent member. I'm sorry. And whenever he speaks, it's very interesting to talk to him. And this is how I am realizing how interesting is today's event when he speaks.
Yeah. Sir, you ask me before giving him compliments, because he can tear the other person apart, and I'm dreading to be talking to him. But in any case, I think, coming back to your question, Swami, and the story.
Talk about failure first. Talk about the failure first.
No. Failure will take me to a longer story. This is a shorter story. Let me finish that first. You are talking about smaller ideas and smaller innovations and smaller successes. right? So there's this amazing story, a father and son, they were walking in a jungle. It was a redwood, tall tree jungle. Son was very, very small, 5 years old kind of. And when the son was looking at the trees, he was falling down because they were so tall. So while they were walking, son asked a very innocent question. And you know, it is very difficult to answer these very, very young kids and their curiosity. So he asked, Dad, how is the sky up there? Who is holding the sky? And father was shocked. Father said, oh, how do I answer this boy? Who is holding the sky? So he also looked up and he said, you know, these tall trees that you see, the redwood trees, they are holding the sky. The son, innocent kid. Yeah, that's true. So he got a convincing answer. So they continued walking. After a while, the jungle was over and there was a huge grass compound, a huge Maidan, ghas ka. And son was afraid suddenly. Son kept on holding hand of his father. So father realized why the son was afraid. Son thought that there are no tall trees now, the sky is going to fall. But suddenly he realized that there are these tips of the grass that he saw, millions of them, as if they were holding the sky. So when we talk of innovation, when we talk of success, when we talk of achai, I mean, let's go a little off topic, right? I mean, dunya kaise tiki hai? Sant hain, Sant Mahatma, they are all great. There are all business tycoons. There are Ambanis and there are Tatas and Birlas and everyone. But there are SMEs of Indian Merchants Chamber who are also holding the economy. So something like that. Everybody has a contribution to make in this ecosystem. And that is where I feel that no idea is small or big. The result that is achieved at the end of a particular objective may quantify. And if you ask that person, even for them, because once you get into a, so, Rajesh Jain was Samachar.com. He was the founder of Samachar.com and first Indian success story when Satyam Infoway acquired the company and all, way back 2099, actually, 99-2000 was the time frame. When Rajesh was called and when he was asked as to what will you define as success of an enterprise, and he said a very beautiful thing. He said, if you identify the problem, a societal pain, and try and solve the societal pain, success will follow. He says, for me, when I thought of Samachar.com, I thought of those Indians who are staying abroad and whose families are here, whose parents are in a particular village, whose family is somewhere, and they are all working out there in Pardes. And he said, what I did was, I just copied the front page of every newspaper from all over India, and I put it on my homepage, those headlines. And that became my site, Samachar.com. So between 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning till around 7 a.m., the world, when they wake up, they will come on to Samachar.com. And at that time, he said 3.5 million page hits during that period that he would get, just to know that mere gaon mein kuch hua nahi hai na, my parents are safe or not, or my family is safe or not. And there is no flood, there is no riot, there is nothing of that sort. And that's it. Just addressing a simple pain of every individual, success follow. So that's where I talk about this. And when you are talking of failure, I mean, to me, it is so important to accept. First of all, you should be comfortable with yourself. And that is what I'm trying to do with myself. So let me kind of rewind the story 20 years ago. So I love literature, I love storytelling, and by now you know. So whenever, I mean, even from my school days, I used to do that. And whenever there was a free period, my friends would say, Vaishnav, come on, tell story. And I'll blabber something. I don't know the meaning of that. I used to say all that. That trend continued. And as a passion, I was comparing musical shows on stage. And that again came as an accident. One of my friend who was a producer of a show, he had fixed everything. There was a show on Raj Kapoor, Jaane Kahan Gaye Wo Din, Raj Kapoor's 50 years of stardom. And this show was finalized by them. I had no clue of this. They had a compere, but the compere got an opportunity in Canada. And just 7 days before the show, he went away. And these guys couldn't stop him. So they reached out to me and said, Rajiv, yaar, help karo, I need your help because we have announced a show and we don't have a compere. Can you help me? And as a friend, I said, look, boss, I'm working with Indo-American Chamber of Commerce and I'm full-time there. And I don't know, how can I help you? He said, no, please do something, but somehow help. So I said, okay, 2-3 show kar dunga main, uske baad sambhal lena. And they said, fine. They gave me a script. I didn't like the script because it was typical "Bhai aur behno, aapke samne aa raha hai" kind of stuff. And I said, I can't do that. I mean, I need my own writing. So I locked myself, wrote a script for 23 songs that they were to perform. And that show became a super hit. The response was that, boss, gaane to bahut sune hain. This comparing was unique. And we loved it because I brought Vivekananda, I brought Osho, I brought Murari Bapu on the stage for entertainment, evening entertainment, and people were surprised, but they enjoyed it. So anyway, the story continues. And Mr. Shekhar Sen, I don't know how many of you are aware of Mr. Shekhar Sen, amazing, very unique, iconic personality. He's an actor, he's a musician, he's a lyricist, he's a dialogue writer, he's a performer. Goswami Tulsidas, Swami Vivekanand, Surdas, these are all his single actor act. And I think he has crossed almost 1,000 performances of these kind of plays. And this was a play it was his launch show. Now, on one hand, he approached me through this friend and he said, can Rajiv do my launch? So I had not known Mr. Sen. So I said, of course, it will be an honor because I got to know of him and I was like overwhelmed. But that was the time when on the parallel track, I was doing very well in terms of my other performances. And Mr. Kalyanji Anandji, Kalyanji Bhai, became a fan and he used to call me at his residence and we had a lot of these interactions and all that. And he used to say, and once or twice he said that today you are the best compere in Mumbai. So that was a parallel track which was going on and I was just receiving it but had no clue of what's going to be happening to me. Now Mr. Sen called me. शेखर जी ने कहा कि राजीव मेरी टेक्निकल है आज इस्कॉन में आप आ जाइए. So I went to see the technical rehearsal. And there was a scene that I saw where Tulsidas ji is talking to Hanuman and this is just a mono acting. So Shekhar ji was in the costume of Tulsidas ji and he was talking to Hanuman and Hanuman was nowhere, nobody, virtual. And he was saying that Hanuman ji, मेरे शरीर पे ये फोड़े कैसे? हनुमान जी ने कहा कि बाबा गोसाई जी आपने रामायण लिखी और कहीं आपको एक सूक्ष्म अहंकार आ गया तो आप विनय पत्रिका लिख लीजिए ये फोड़े निकल जाएंगे. Swami ji wrote Vinay Patrika and he was okay. All right. Now this was the scene. I'm seeing it. I have no clue. I just stepped out of that technical rehearsal. Next day was his grand performance and I was to introduce Shekhar ji. Now, when on one hand, Kalyanji Bhai is telling me that you are one of the best compares of Mumbai. On the other hand, I am seeing this enactment of this small play. And here I am in a dhoti, in a kurta with a shawl here, and all ready to introduce Shekharji. And I went into the green room of Vaidas Hall, Vaidas Auditorium. He was in his getup, and his aura was such that I started feeling nervous. And then I looked at him, and he was like appearing to be Tulsidas himself. And he said, Rajiv ji, kya likha hai aap? I showed him with a trembling hand. He read what I wrote. And he said, nahi, iske bajaye aap aisa boliye, aap iski jagah par ye boliye. He suggested some nuances of how should I manage my script. I was very nervous. I had to go outside the screen and talk and come in, and then the curtain will open and Tulsidas will be revealed. So I went outside the curtain, and for the first time in many years, it was in the early days when I used to address people and used to address a large audience and all. But here, after so many years, my hand started shivering, and exactly this much shiver was there, and my legs were shivering, and it was, and they were shivering so much that from the dhoti itself, people used to feel that there is a shiver happening and this guy is shaking the entire body. I lost every word that I had memorized, and I could see the best of Hindi literature, the Sanskritic literature, the best of bhajan singers, and everyone were there. And I was unable to utter a single word about what I was supposed to be doing. I apologized to the audience. My family was there in the audience. I apologized to the audience that I'm sorry, I've forgotten everything that I was supposed to be speaking. Please excuse me. I folded my hands and went inside. When I went inside, and I cried for almost 1.5 hours by the time Shekharji came inside, and he told me that this is the fun of a live performance, and sometimes it happens, so you should not worry. Now, these are some great learnings that you carry with you. So what happened 20 years ago, and I'm coming back to now technology and innovation. When Harish Mehta, Harish Bhai, I call him, he's my mentor. He saw me on the stage performing a show called Jara Yaad Karo Qurbani. Right? I'm BSc, Bhavans College, Andheri. Chemistry, 57 point some percentage, I don't remember. I don't know beyond benzene ring. I have forgotten that also now. So Harish Bhai called me, and Harish Bhai said, Rajiv, take over TIE, because we are launching TIE, and I was announced as the first president. I saw your performance. I think you will be the best person. Take over. I said, Harish Bhai, I don't understand technology. I don't understand finance. What is sweat equity and all? I have no clue. Harish Bhai said, 15 years ago, nobody understood technology. I have confidence in you. Do you have confidence? And I said, yes, that I have. He said, jump. So from a large cabin of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, I started building TIE from home, in the bedroom, on the desktop. And rest is history. So I think, Swami, to your question about failure, a person who fails only if he is not bouncing back. I mean, these are all very, very known things, and everybody is experiencing that, right? Now, multiple failures will teach you how to fail and again, how to succeed. So I'm super happy that these are some of those instances that have happened in my life. And, you know, on a Guru Purnima day, in one of my blogs, I have acknowledged a Gunda of my college. And this is very interesting. You guys, we were talking of stories. Let's that this anecdote also be there. Very interesting. This guy is Ramu Dada. So Ramu Dada was a fat guy, stout, and he was in the group of Asghar Ali. I don't know Ali, who was the physiotherapist of Indian cricket team once upon a time. You know, so they were in the same group. And this I'm talking of 1979-80. At that time, I was in the college. And Ramu Dada used to sit in a particular place. There was a bench in the college, and he used to sit, and all his clout was around there and all. And I used to, simple guy, I mean, from the gate, I used to go to the college, maybe to the canteen and to library. And that was my routine. Nothing else majorly that I was doing to be noticed. Suddenly one day, Ramu Dada was sitting with his friends and he called me, "Hey, idhar aa rahe?" And I was like, "Haan Ramu Dada, kuch bigada kya tera?" I said, "Nahi Ramu Dada." तो फिर ऐसा काय को देखता है? ये देखने का नहीं क्या ऐसा? चल वटक. And that was the communication. ये देखने का नहीं है ऐसा, चल वटक. And the question was, मैंने तेरा कुछ बिगाड़ा है क्या? That was a lesson in non-verbal communication. I learned on that day that Ramu Dada is my guru. He is teaching me and he taught me that I should not perceive anybody before encountering that person or even after that. Who am I to judge people? And you know, these are small instances in your life that teaches you, and if you can retain them. So whether you call it success, whether you call it failure, these are all part of the same flow, and you have to take it with that spirit. So
in fact, a lot of people may have an issue in terms of correlating what Rajiv said with what the subject is, but let me tell you how the correlation actually happens. See, the last point that he talked about, communication. See, innovation doesn't happen in a void. Innovation happens on the shop floor. Innovation happens in the marketplace. You listen to your customer, you think of something to do differently. You listen to your customer, you think of different things to do. Secondly, and this is a very important lesson I learned from my days when I was a journalist. You know, the guy who's on your shop floor worker, can actually give you ideas in terms of a process improvement. He can actually tell you, "Saab, aap aisa karoge, to aapka itna savings hoga, iska productivity improve hoga." Very often, the bosses in the factory do not listen to people because they say, "Arey, ye to Ramu Kaka hai. Ye Ramu Kaka bhi bahut kuch janta hai." So when you talk about the success of innovation, I think being in the hearing, as somebody's called it, being in the listening mode is, I think, is extremely important. Being in the listening mode is also about listening to the market. Being in the listening mode is also about listening to people on the shop floor. But let me add a couple of more things here. Let me tell you one story. You know, many years ago, when I was a journalist, I'd once got to see Mr. Bagul, who was then chairman of ICICI. He said to me, "Today we funded an extraordinary company." I said, "Very good. What does the company do?" "They have created a dosa ka tawa to make 100 dosas ek saath." So I looked very unimpressed. See, I'm Economic Times, so obviously I shape the views of people outside. Unfortunate people in the morning read what I write and decide whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. So Mr. Bagul saw I was not very impressed. "Well, aren't you impressed?" I said, "No." He said, "Why?" मैंने कहा, "पैसा दे दिया क्या?" बोला, "हाँ दे दिया, डिस्बर्स हो गया." मैंने कहा, "You stay quiet, doesn't matter, don't listen to my views." आपने दे दिया, but ये तो पैसा आपका गया. What was I thinking? I said, कभी किसी शादी में 100 लोग एक साथ खड़े होकर खाना खाएंगे, रोटी का डोसा खाएंगे, तो 100% will get ठंडा डोसा. If you want to do 100 dosas, you need 30 to 40 people to literally put the batter and do it. Have you even thought about it? But the thing is very important. But the important thing is, the more you think, the more it will evolve. The 100 dosa may not be very valid at that point in time. But then after that, 3 dosa, 4 dosa, 8 dosas actually came, which I think is very important. So talking to people, experimenting, do not be afraid of failure. You know, when we were launching a product several years ago, the global head of products for Reuters once came to me. He said, "Swami, if your product at the end of 3 years looks like what it is today, you're a big failure. You're not listening." Because when you are developing a product, it's based on your preconceived notions and by talking to a few people. When people start using it, what you do with it will be completely different. But that's where, again, the choice of technology becomes very, very important. And I think the two things are actually correlated. So don't think of technology as computer technology. Don't think of technology as software. You know, technology is also some improvement that happens in your brain. Your brain runs on technology at the end of the day. So don't take a narrow view of technology. But, you know, again, because yesterday Rajiv and I had a disagreement on this. I still think people, smaller companies, always are on their toes and need to do it better. And therefore, they're constantly innovating and constantly working on new things. Rajiv has a completely different view on this. In fact, he said, no, doesn't have to be that way. Rajiv, you want to elaborate? Do small companies, are they better innovators than big companies?
So I'm not 100% sure about that because of a couple of reasons. I mean, of course, they have more flexibility. So there are pluses and minuses when you compare a large company and a small company, and when you compare the zeal for innovation, right? I mean,
it's more survival. If you ask me, it's actually more survival than zeal.
No, I agree, and I'm not denying that. I'm not saying no to that. I'm only saying that you can't brand a large organization and say that they can't innovate. No, they can. And I worked in Reliance. I know Jio, when Jio was not launched, I was there. When Jio was launched, I was there, and that was a very important time in the lifespan of Reliance and in my own lifespan. That those 3 years that I was there, I saw a lot of things happening in a large organization like Reliance. And I don't know, many of you may know, but and again, these are the stories that I have heard when I was in Reliance and outside, is that there are 5 teams working on a similar project and a similar problem area, and 5 teams are working, and every team is thinking that they are innovating, they are doing something new, something better, something different. And then those teams, when they approach a central group of people to decide, suddenly they realize, oh, we thought we are the only ones who are working towards it, but there are 5 others. So large companies have this flexibility of resources. And Swami, yesterday we were talking about money as a resource. Money is one of the resources. Money is not the only resource. Unfortunately, we have started thinking in terms of that. कि अरे पैसा मिलेगा तो हम आगे बढ़ेंगे. बॉस ऐसा नहीं है. पैसा मिलेगा तो आगे बढ़ोगे. But उसके पहले, what are your resources? Your team is your resource. The ideas that you have is your resource. Your customer is a resource. Your critics are your resource. So there are multiple resources. And when you start looking at stakeholders, and I think this word is very important. So when I was at NASSCOM, I used to think of who are my stakeholders. And when you start putting down the stakeholders, journalists and media, press media, of course, they become a part of an association, and IMC would know about it, right? I mean, when you start thinking of who are your stakeholders, the government, our government, state government, municipal corporation, including central government, and then government of other countries. So you stretch your imagination to who are your stakeholders, and there is learning from all these people, and that becomes your resource. So yes, small companies have the advantage of there are less layers of decision making, but then there are so many other aspects also, so many other constraints which may not be able for them to get the flexibility of focusing on something like a and there are shifting priorities. So yes, it all depends upon your attitude. What kind of people you have in your organization will define. And there is a wonderful learning that I have got from Illumine Labs. I don't know how many of you know Illumine Labs. Mr. V. Srinivasan is the founder of Illumine Labs. They are at Wadala and Dadar. And one must interact. I would request IMC to invite them invite Mr. Srinivasan as a speaker. Amazing gentleman. He bases his thought process around Vivekananda's theory. And he talked something very interesting, and I was just elaborating that in my own mind and when I was interacting with students and all that. Students keep asking this question as to, should I be an employee or should I be an entrepreneur? Should I wait for the campus recruitment to happen, or should I jump into a startup and do something of my own? So I was at Surat at NIT, and I was asking this question to the students. They were engineering college students, NIT. So I asked them, so how many of you want to become entrepreneurs? So there were like few hands up. I said, why you want to become an entrepreneur? They said, no, boss. I want to become an entrepreneur because entrepreneurs don't have bosses. I have not to worry about anybody. I'm not answerable to anybody. I want to make money. These are all answers that you get, young kids. They have to see how the life has to unfold. So then I had to tell them that when you think, and again, that reminds me of an anecdote. So as I was telling you that I was associated with the music and stage and all that, there's a gentleman called Babulalji Gandharva. If you Google him, you will realize Babulalji Gandharva has created something called an instrument called Bela Bahar. Bela Bahar is a combination of violin and sarangi. And he plays amazingly well. He's a genius. So one day, and we are friends, so one day he said, Rajiv ji, मेरा शो है, आप आओगे? मैंने कहा, अरे आप बुलाएं, हम ना आए, बिल्कुल आएंगे. So the show was at Dadar Blind School. And I was among very few who was able to listen to Babulalji and also to see him. And there were others who were like enjoying the music. And I was looking at Babulalji and his performance. And as he performed and as I was kind of observing, after the show, I went up to him and I said, Babulalji, what a performance, great. But I have one question. So he said, I said, I was observing you, and sometimes your expressions were like full of joy and ecstasy. And sometimes you were like very upset. Why was that change in your expression? And he said something very, very unique. He said, Rajiv ji, अच्छा कलाकार होता है ना, वो अपने कानों के भीतर एक श्रोता बिठाता है. वो श्रोता उसे बताता है कि वो सही बजा रहा है या गलत. तो मेरा श्रोता जब मुझे बता रहा था कि मैं सही बजा रहा हूं, तब मैं खुश हो रहा था. और वो जब बोलता था कि मैं गलत बजा रहा हूं, तो मेरे मुंह पे आपने शिकन देखी होगी. Now, what he meant by this? It's a self-critique. Do you have that self-critique? Ability to critique yourself, ability to introspect yourself, and not just you in yourself, but as a team. You have a group of people to come together and discuss, debate, contradict, agree, disagree, whatever. But I think this journey is very important. And therefore, I'm saying whether it's a large organization and how you have created culture around your people is very important. So what Mr. Srinivas told me was, he said there are different types of mindsets. And when he talked about mindsets, this is very interesting for us to note. And I keep sharing this with all possible platforms that, because this is something very unique I find in his understanding and in his explanation. He said, when a question is asked to you, what is your CTC? Normally people would answer the overall salary package that they get from the company. So they say my CTC is 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 100 lakhs, whatever, 2 crores, 5 crores, whatever. Because that's the total money you receive as salary plus the perks. He said, no, this is not the CTC. And then he draws 3 circles. He says the outer circle is a circle of transaction. That's where you transact. That's where you devote 10 hours to your company and the company pays you. But then company gives you an opportunity. They empower you to create. And you create along with your colleagues and your department and your team and with the company. So there is a middle circle of co-creation, that you start co-creating a solution, a product. And as you co-create, your fulfillment grows with the company, that I'm enjoying working with this company. And Swami can tell you that people associated with him are there for several years, and he still calls himself as not so successful. But what is important is the fulfillment, the kind of fulfillment that your employees are going to feel within themselves, and the ability to co-create. In my case, and people working with IMC, I can vouch for them. I have worked for almost 16 years in a not-for-profit organization, 13 years with NASSCOM, 3 years with TIE, 1 year with Indo-American Chamber, and 3 years with Indo-American Society. 20 years of my life has gone for not-for-profit organizations. And you know, and I'm sorry to say this on this platform, but the salaries are not comparable to corporates. But still, you see the passion of people working for the association is because the circle of fulfillment is far greater than circle of transaction. And that becomes your total CTC. It's this plus this plus this. So when you come from outside in, is a journey of an employee that you see yahan kitna paisa milega, salary kitni hai. Then you join the company, then you are able to co-create, then you improve your fulfillment. That's an outside in journey of an employee. But when you reverse the circle and from inside out, that you are a passionate individual, you are trying to solve a problem, so your fulfillment is so high, your passion is so high, then you start co-creating. So you co-create a product or a solution. And when that co-creation starts growing, customers start accepting your solutions, customers starts paying your solution, you create wealth. So it's an inside out journey. That's a journey of an entrepreneur. And therefore, to me, whether you come in outside in or inside out, the circles are the same. As many people who are your genuine contributors in your organization are going to make the difference. So when you are hiring, unfortunately, we hire qualifications. But if we have the ability to hire the attributes of contributor, that whether this person is a contributor or not, if we can gauge that early enough, then more number of contributors in the organization, the rate of success is definitely going to be much greater than otherwise. That's what I feel.
So I want to take off from what Rajiv said. Ultimately, for successful innovation to happen, you have to pay attention to organization structure. And when he talks about the Shrota in the year on year, I remember, again, a story goes back to Mr. Vagul. I keep quoting him a lot. He said to me, the guy who criticizes you in terms of saying this will not work is your best friend. Jo aake kehte ki chalega, daudega is not your best friend. He's happy to concede an argument to you. Jo aapke saath aage argue karta hai saying, ye nahi chalega. This is not a good thing. He has a point to prove. Even if his debating points are completely stupid, please listen to him because he has to win the argument. And in the course of wanting to win the argument, he may actually say something to you that's very important. So creating an organization where people argue with you, people who say it will not work, I think is important. I think Rajiv's point on hiring is a bit overstated. I think it's up to you to create, there's no fire, you can light a fire. After you light a fire, it's up to you to preserve the fire by ensuring that the fuel goes into it, that is protected from the wind and so on and so forth. I think nurturing that kind of an organization is also about sharing incentives. I think, when you cook rice, for example, if you fill up the water right to the top of the bartan, it takes longer for the rice to cook than if you leave some space at the top. So working hard I think it's an overstated thing. Too many bosses say, work hard. And screw it, don't work hard, work smart. That doesn't mean don't finish the work. So I keep telling my colleagues, go and watch a Monday matinee, it's fine. So I think that space that's required to be able to observe, the space, if you want to create an organization that ultimately innovates, you need people who will innovate. In any organization, the dog's body is not bothered. वो आएंगे, नौकरी करेंगे, घर जाएंगे. आएंगे, नौकरी करेंगे, कब घर जाएंगे. But the ability to spot those people is what's very important. Again, an example from my own company many, many years ago. 1997, 98, the cost of bandwidth was very, 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 very high. बहुत महंगा था. We had a guy in our office called Neil Kundu who blew up 3.5 lakh rupees in one night on bandwidth alone. In any organization, he would have been sacked. We didn't sack him. Today, this guy runs one very big technology practice for Philips worldwide. Because for me, that experimentation that he did with that thing made him what he is much later. We started to lose him. Of course, he's getting paid a lot more than what we can afford to pay. But I think creating that condition for people to do things outside the call of duty, I think it's very important. Creating that condition for people to go beyond the call of duty and actually say, this is also mine. So for example, one thing that you keep saying, so who's Iris? At this point in time, I'm here, therefore I'm Iris. Well, if you are in front of somebody and you're Iris, you are Iris. So really that ownership comes when the bosses treat people in a manner where innovation flourishes. It's not, so very often the relationship that's built up is built up in an environment where it's talked down to people. The guy who's on the shop floor is as important to you. I know it's a bit difficult to get people to come and talk. It's difficult to, in a hierarchy-driven organization, to do these things. But I think I remember something that Harsh Neotia told me many years ago, Gujarat Ambuja. He said, nothing motivates a factory worker more than the works manager and the worker sharing the same loo and urinating at neighboring stalls. He says it's very inspiring for people because ultimately that's a leveler. So I don't know what the leveler is in an organization, but if you want innovation to happen, innovation is not the preserve of the boss. Innovation is not the preserve of the technology department. Innovation is something that can happen by anybody. By the way, there are no questions coming up. I don't know.
Yes. Question.
Shweta.
I have been raising my hand, but
okay, but please, I think if you post it, people will also see it.
Yes.
Because I think people, if everybody starts talking, I think we'll have a bit of a disorder here. Yes. So maybe if people start posting it, it'll be much easier.
Yes,
we can't see most people's faces.
A lot of people are writing up individually chat kar rahe ho, so please select in Zoom to everyone, and the questions can be seen by everyone, and the panelists can pick it up. We can help them pick it up. But
and easy questions I will answer. Difficult questions he will answer.
Yeah. But just in the meantime, all the participants gear up for your questions, such interesting stories and conversations. Sir, I wanted to ask you, Swami sir, and Rajiv sir also, that we have spoken so much now. Our audience primarily consists of startups, MSMEs, and a lot of these small enterprises. So, on the manufacturing front, adoption of technology in terms of introducing processes or using technology in your business as systems, as an enabler, so that you really can innovate, you can empower your people. So this is a very
Can I stop you for a second?
Problem.
Technology is, I want to stop you for a second. Yes. There was a day when technology was an enabler. Technology is no longer an enabler. It's front and center. Marketing is technology. HR is technology. Production is technology. So don't look at technology as an enabler. It's like the heart in your system. You take out the heart, the man dies. The woman also dies.
Exactly. Sir, you have answered the question. So, I just wanted, which you have said, that is the heart. So a lot of, when I interact with our members, a lot of people, I see that innovation, कि कैसे हमें तो technology समझ में नहीं आता. Our team does not understand. They are scary of consultants or technology experts. So how should they approach this? When you say technology, making technology the heart of your company, what should be the approach of entrepreneurs, MSMEs who don't understand, who have not used it since years, but it's time because they will become extinct. So what should
I think it's wonderful if you accept you don't know. The more the number of consultants you meet, the more you can learn. Ask questions. Don't hesitate to ask questions, and don't hesitate to say you don't know. So when you talk about the whole issue of not being scared of failure, not being scared to ask a question is part of not being afraid of failure. You don't know something, please ask. There's nothing wrong in asking.
Okay, wonderful. I think there is a question in the chat box. Do you finance?
People want money. We finance jewelers.
Yes. Okay. There is a question from Nitin. But the question is not complete. My question is, how do you understand? What is the question? If you can the question. Is how to understand the mindset of a human being, especially for creating teams and creating teams for success. So this is a question from Nitin.
I'm going to take this question working differently. So let's ask this question to Divya. Divya, do you cook? Divya, do you cook?
Divya, unmute yourself.
Of course I do.
You really cook, or do you set the conditions for cooking?
Okay.
When you set the rice in the pressure cooker, it cooks on its own.
Yeah, true.
You don't cook. Actually, if you think you're cooking, you're sadly mistaken. You set the conditions for things to cook. So when it comes to you don't create teams with the intention of doing whatever. You set conditions for people to come together. So your role as a manager, your role as a CEO is to just set the conditions for it. And at the end of the day, karmaneva adhikarsya ma phaleshu kadachana. So if you set the right conditions, you will get the right outcome. If you call a carpenter for plumbing or a plumber for carpentry, you will be unhappy both ways. So I don't think this is an engineering thing where you can actually plan it. It's not a controlled experiment. Human beings don't lend themselves to experiments in chemical laboratories. Rajiv?
Absolutely. 100% what you're saying makes total sense. So, yeah, I mean, you just, there you become an enabler actually, and help people to kind of find their own ways of doing things. I think if we can create a canvas and we can kind of give that opportunity to paint whatever that the organization is expecting you to do, those things also can help, rather than supervising and monitoring and kind of hammering all the time that I'm right and you are wrong. So there are multiple such things that will influence the morale of people. I mean, we are all very, very emotional at our own being. And therefore, to deal with emotions, to deal with, so it's a science and art both. The management of people is science and art both. And I think there are people who are running businesses, so who would know, better than I can answer. And Swami, you have covered this beautifully. But yes, we have to create that environment that will help people to grow in that situation.
I used to have a partner called Chris Taylor, who taught me a very valuable lesson. He said, if somebody asks you a question, you should start by saying, that's a fantastic question, and then give the answer. He never, ever said anything different. He would say, my God, what an insight. That's a brilliant question. So now, similarly, in the organization, if somebody gives a suggestion, start by saying it's a fantastic suggestion. It doesn't matter how rotten the suggestion is in your view. And secondly, it's my experience, the most indisciplined person in your company, the most complaining person in your company are your two biggest assets, because those are the only two people who are thinking. Anybody who's looking to find fault is thinking. If somebody is constantly finding fault, I think is a valuable asset. I mean, you need to know when to throw him out. That's a different story altogether. But if somebody is constantly finding fault, saying, "Ye kaam nahi kar rahe ho, kaam nahi kar rahe, kaam nahi kar rahe ho, kaam nahi kar raha," and if somebody is indisciplined, please worship them. Figure out how to use them better.
Yes, I think there are questions from Divya and Govind sir.
Yes, Govind sir, yes, over to you. Then I'll ask. Please go ahead. You unmute yourself and go ahead.
Unmute yourself.
Sir, you said while recruiting, you find contributors. But how do you decide who is going to be a contributor in the company?
No, so that's a very right question that you have raised, because that's what I said. If we are able to see the attributes of, so I mean, there are multiple ways. I'm saying purely going based on the qualification may not help. And there are multiple tests which are evolved now to know the person. So, I mean, for example, there was a discussion in Reliance itself, in the leadership role, that suddenly a question was asked by this gentleman to me. And he said, so this was a outsourced company who was recruiting for the leadership. And I was asked this question out of blue, that which character in Mahabharata you love the most? And my reflex was Eklavya. And he was surprised. He said, normally people would give Krishna or Arjuna or something, and suddenly Eklavya, why? And then I gave why I felt Eklavya was an interesting character for me as an individual. And I said, Eklavya represents the unique quality of an entrepreneur, because he is a dropout. He has learned everything through his passion and conviction, and he could succeed in his objectives. And he never considered failure as no. So he continuously applied himself and blah, blah, and all those things I explained to him. And then I was thinking, and on the hindsight, I was thinking as to what did I reflect? My role, my job was for a startup venture fund. And my job was for Accelerator. And there we are going to interact with multiple startups. And suddenly this question coming to me and my response. So I was kind of introspecting after everything was over. So what I'm saying is that maybe that gentleman would find some trait in my answer. And he would say, okay, this is not a usual answer, or this, the way I explained, or things like that. So what I'm trying to tell you is that there is no ready answer to these kind of questions because these are very subjective questions. But if we can find, and there is a great story, I don't know, it was very famously circulated on social media. गोविंद सर आपने शायद पढ़ी नहीं पढ़ी है. एक लड़का था, फाइनल ईयर कॉलेज में था, and he was very upset with his father, a middle class family, and father was always nagging. अरे यार लाइट बंद करो, रूम से बाहर निकल रहे हो तो ट्यूबलाइट बंद करो, क्यों जल रही है? और ये पंखा किसने चालू रखा है? अरे ये टीवी क्यों चालू है? घर रूम में तो कोई नहीं है. And every day, every morning, afternoon, evening, there was a continuous nagging, and he was so upset. He said, the day I get a job, I'm going to leave this house and start my own life. And he was determined. Then he got a job, an interview, and he was super excited that today is my last day in the house. If I get this job, I'm going to run away. As he got up in the morning, his father got up earlier than him. He gave more money as a pocket money, and he gave that dahi, that all the best, my son, and be confident. Reply all your questions. Come on, old man, shut up. This guy just went out without listening. As he came out, this was this MIDC type of an environment where you have plot systems and you have your own some area before the building is constructed, and you go inside the building, and also that kind of an office that he had to go. So as he approached the gate was half open and the lock was half out. So he kind of, as a usual habit, he put the lock correctly, opened the gate, went inside, closed the gate. He went inside, there was a garden, there was a pathway, and the water hose was flowing on the pathway and not inside the garden. So he picked up the water hose and put it inside the plants so that the water can go there. As he entered the building, the signboard was interviews on the first floor. As he was climbing stairs, there were lights at 10 a.m. in the morning, the lights were on. So he kept on switching off the lights as he was moving up. When he entered the room where there were 20, 30 candidates were sitting, and he said, oh God, these are also smart people. No chance of my getting into a job. So anyway, now that I have come, but then he saw that the hall was bigger and these guys were sitting in front. The fans were running behind. His father's voice came into his ears and he switched off all the fans there. He was waiting for his turn to come, and he was so surprised that the guys who were called before him were with so much of a hurry that they were moving out and they were like going from the other door. So no chance of talking to them. And he was saying that this management must be a crook, guys. They are not even interviewing. Something is already fixed and I'm not going to get a chance. As he went inside, the guy who was interviewing gave him an offer letter. And he said, this is your job is confirmed. But he said, you have not asked me a single question. How can you confirm my job? He said, आधे घंटे में मैं क्या सवाल पूछूंगा और तुम क्या जवाब दोगे? What we have done, we have placed cameras all over, and look at this screen. I am watching every candidate coming into my office. You were the only one who did what you did, and that shows concern for my company. And if you are so much concerned for my company, I can teach you the skills. You don't worry about that. And you are hired. He ran home and he touched the feet of his father and said, Dad, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. What I learned from you, I didn't realize that I learned it. But this is what is the impact of my learning. So what I'm trying to say is that there are these kind of attributes, even if we can see while, and again, this is not, I'm not any any authority on all these issues, but based on what I have learned, I have experienced, this is what I think if we can do, if we can spot it, like Swami says, that not necessarily, if this is like too much, that's great. You can still convert a couple of employees into your contributors by showing them the CTC and how the company can help them, empower them to co-create. what kind of environment you create around them, and how they really can grow in the organization. So ultimately, every human being is joining a company to grow themselves and to grow the company. So if these environments are conducive, I'm sure there will be more people who can contribute to the growth of the company. Swami, anything? You?
No, set the conditions. In fact, I will share one interesting thing with you. I think we must have interviewed at least 4,000 or 5,000 people in IRIS over the last so many years. So about 15 years ago, I started this little experiment with my colleagues. And I said, within 30 seconds of the person walking in, just write a Y or N on a sheet of paper separately. After the process is over, we will take a look at it. You won't believe it. Most decisions to recruit are taken in the first 15 to 30 seconds. The questions don't matter. Because 90% of the time जो आता है पहला 15 से 30 सेकंड में दिखा देता है उसमें क्या कमाल है. As Rajiv was saying, innovation is about attitude. Innovation is not about skills. It's not about what you know. It's about curiosity. It's about a desire to improve. It's about things like that. So you want to look at things. I think in the first 15 to 30 seconds, you pretty much know what the person's capable of. And somebody asked a question about numbers and this whole innovation thing. It's not. It's got nothing to do with numbers. Numbers are a consequence at the end of the day. For example, when Rajiv and I sat down and said, we will innovate this event and do it completely interactive. Well, as it turned out, not many people have asked questions, but we were open to taking questions from the first step. So my question to you is literally, is it not innovation? Absolutely, yes. The idea is to make, now can it be collapsed into rupees and paisa in terms of numbers? Well, maybe yes. But not every innovation has to be, and have a copyright on it and approved by the government. What to do next, please tell me. I think it's an extraordinary question. I'm going to answer the question slightly differently. In America, where I studied for a while, most companies encourage their people to acquire patents. And the employees who acquire patents also get a little part of the economic benefit of the patents they acquire. And the reason for that is the following. While acquiring the patents on what they do, they use company resources to create the argument for the patent. The scientific discovery, if there is one, or the product improvement may have been done using company resources. And in every case, companies try and give them a share of the economic benefits to the patent holder. So if Mohit Hardasani has something on those lines, I think you should negotiate with your company and basically do something. But if you've done it on company time, rightfully you have an obligation to also share it with the company. So what do you want to do next is a function of what you want to do. So what to do next? I don't understand the question. I mean, do you want to find a way to sell it off to? Do you want to talk to your company and do it? That's a call you need to take. Rajiv, the questions in the chat box. You want to see it?
Thank you, sir. You have answered my question very well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rajiv.
Yeah, I have a question, sir. Basically, what I have seen, the technology or innovation in any businesses, when I started my company. So let me introduce myself as I'm Divya Momaya, chairperson of IMC Navi Mumbai. At the same time, I have a startup company called Mentor My Board, wherein we train, groom directors on board. And we have created a complete virtual community ecosystem and platform for the directors, mentors, and the corporates. So when I see the technology and the innovation, what we are trying to build in, I see it as a chakra view. That the more you get deeper into, the more involved you get into, and the amount in terms of the investment, and it keeps going in. So how do you define, or how do you set that what investment should be, or how actually you define that usme kitna invest karna chahiye ya kis had tak jana chahiye. So how do we really, define those boundaries, or how we understand ki, this is not going to work, this is going to work. So I find it as a chakra view sometimes. So if you can throw some light on how much to invest in the innovation and technology.
Can you repeat the question?
Or to what extent?
One second. Can you repeat the question, please? Can you repeat the question?
So what I'm saying is, the investment into the innovation and technology in any business, how do you define or set boundaries कि कितना invest करना चाहिए या how deep you should go into? So, I find it as a Chakravyuh that you can't come out of it. Once you get into it, you can't come out of it. So any thoughts on that?
So do you see a difference between the way you frame the question the first time and the second time?
Yes.
What was different? You framed the question more precisely the second time.
Yes.
The first was a lecture, the second was a question, which is fine. There's nothing wrong in it. Nothing wrong in it.
Yeah.
See, ultimately, it's like this. I don't think innovation should start with an investment mode or a money-making mode. You're doing something to improve the product, fine. You're doing something to improve it for your customer, fine. You're doing something to improve your process in the factory, fine. Money is a consequence. Money is a consequence. The objective is not money. If you keep chasing money, you will not get it. If you keep chasing money, you may get it. You can turn around and tell me, अरे कहाँ स्वामीनाथन क्या बकबक बोल रहा है, जहाँ यूनिकॉर्न चल रही है दुनिया भर में, इनका 25 कॉर्न में 1 किलो कॉर्न का भी दाम नहीं हुआ कंपनी का दाम. हाँ, that's a fact. So we're not even a bushel of corn when the whole world is talking about unicorn. Fact. But having said that, I don't think there's a very clear answer in terms of how much you should invest. I don't think there's very clear concept. I think you should do what is appropriate. That's the easy answer to give. These are answers you will find on your own. बर्तन कितना गर्म है, हाथ लगा के देखो. अब पेट्रोल ज्यादा है तो बर्तन गर्म नहीं है. So I don't think there's a very clear answer to this. Secondly, what sort of returns are you looking for? If you're looking for big returns, you have to install very big capacities. If you're looking for small returns, you can get away with smaller things. There are no clear-cut answers or correct answers or wrong answers to this. Frame the problem precisely. Frame the problem in as precise a manner as possible. Don't focus on money. Focus on the road ahead of you. So when you're sitting in your car and you're driving, look at the car in front of you. The car may be one car ahead of you. Don't start looking at the fourth signal ahead of you. Rajiv?
Yeah, I mean, just to what Swami said, I think what problem you are trying to solve is also very important. And what's your customer need for whom you are trying to solve what kind of problem? Because if you are looking at only going deeper and deeper and deeper into the solution that you are trying to create, and if there is no demand, then for whom you are creating? So I think these are some fundamental questions that you keep asking, that why am I doing what I am doing? And when you have that answer, that why am I doing what I am doing, then you will know where to stop. So that's perfect.
I think somewhere along the way, perfection and commercialization are at loggerheads with each other. It does happen from time to time. So there's a nice line in English language. The best is the enemy of the good.
Yeah.
It's a very, very, very insightful line in English language, saying the best is the enemy of the good. So Michael Bloomberg, I remember a long time ago, you might have heard of Bloomberg TV, Bloomberg terminals.
Yes.
So Bloomberg told me a long time ago, saying that if my product is 15 to 20% ready, I launch it. Then the market takes over and the market helps me with the improvement of the product. That's how far he goes.
That's absolutely
I think
right.
very well.
No, in fact, very interesting thought triggered in my mind. So when I was at NASSCOM, we used to have this quality forums. And we had organized a meeting of all the quality heads of various corporates, technology industry, in the center. And we had called Dr. Anand Deshpande of Persistent Systems from Pune as a CEO audience. So for the first half, there was a discussion about all the quality heads and business excellence heads and all that. And they were talking about Six Sigma and this and that standard and ISO, and all those discussions were happening. And how we should look at the product or the solution and everything else. After break, Dr. Anand Deshpande came and he had a CEO's perspective. And he said something very interesting, like how Swami said. He said, you guys are talking about perfection. You guys are talking about unless the product is perfect, you don't want to roll out. Whereas I am the CEO, I have to make payments. I have to make salaries of people on 25th of every month. Now, if I don't get cash into my system, how am I going to survive? So give me a good enough quality. I don't want the best quality. Give me good enough quality and keep improving it. I will give that solution to the customer and tell him that start using this, give me your feedback. In the meantime, my team is also working on improving, the output. So it's a combination of these, and that's exactly where your dilemma is, that whether you have to aim for perfection or good enough is good for you to make sure that the cash flow is continuing in the organization.
That's why people talk about something called a minimum viable product.
Yes.
Correct.
So Divya, can I ask a question? Yes.
Please go ahead. Thank
Yes.
you for answering it absolutely perfectly, sir. Both of you. Thank you.
If only organizers ask questions, we could just have a chat with the organizers offline.
So, it is not that it is not questions from the organizers. It is because we have been interacting in Business Leadership League. Also, it's a more of a startups and MSMEs. I interact with my members, and every day there are around 160 members, all micro, small enterprises. So, this is a lot of representative questions that I'm asking. So, one question to Vaishnav, Rajiv Vaishnav, sir. So, when you look at a tech startup, you have the founders or a co-founder who is from technology, who understands. And that's how the mix. They have teams and founding teams. But then what is your advice to MSMEs who don't necessarily have people in the key team who understand technology, manufacturing technologies or technologies in the business? So then you approach partners, but then there is a bandwidth issue in terms of money and resources. So how do you look at a partner, one-time cost, incremental projects? How should you approach a digital partner? How do they solve this problem?
Rajiv, I'll take the question before you do.
Okay.
So I run a software company.
Yes, sir.
I have two founders who are part of the software company. I'm the CEO. I've written one code of line of software in my life, just one code. Once upon a time in 1987. I'm not a software person. My colleague, Balu, who's a CFO, is a chemical engineer. He knows nothing about IT. My colleague, Deepta, is a chemical engineer. She knows nothing about IT. So there are three of us. So there are three founders of this IT company who know nothing about IT. And let me tell you how little I know about IT. Now, this will make a lot of people laugh. So I went to a fairly decent university called Yale many, many years ago, where there were computers when I walked in. I did not know how to use a computer when I went there in the 80s. I did not know how to use a computer. So Rajiv, एक कहानी बहुत बड़ी अच्छी कहानी है. मैंने shift print screen करके copy करके print किया. So I had to do screen print. Screen को मैं print करके मैंने कराया. मेरा पहला CV, my first CV. Now I didn't know what a word processing software was. These were all, DOS operating systems, which basically which I did not even know how to access a word processor. So I would go to a DOS prompt and type out my name, go to the next DOS prompt, type out my name, finally print it out, cut out the margins so that the DOS prompt went away, and take that as my CV. And today I run a software company. So I don't think you need to know technology to run a software company. Rajiv, over to you. Or maybe that's why I'm not successful.
Okay. We know, Swami. Let's not talk about that. Okay. So yeah, it's a very interesting question, and I have some very, very, very personal experiences in handling this kind of a situation. At NASSCOM, we try organizing events with technology companies, our IT SME companies with manufacturing SME companies and manufacturing large companies and whatever. And whenever we had to do this event we had organized in Pune, right? So when you send invite to the managing director or promoter of the SME organization, they received it and he said, "Arey, technology का है? अच्छा सुनो यार, मुझे तो technology समझ में नहीं आता है, तुम जाओ." So somebody else would come for this technology event where we are trying to demystify technology for manufacturers, right? The effort is of demystifying it, and there is a guy who understands a little bit of technology who is sitting there, but he has no authority of decision making because the powers are with the owner of the company, manufacturing company. Now he goes back to the manufacturing boss. He has no guts even to say, sir, ये technology ले लेते हैं because इससे फायदा होगा. Because if he says ये technology ले लेते हैं, his neck is on the slaughter. That अगर कल फायदा नहीं हुआ, तो you will be sacrificed. Now, if the mindset is like this, it will never ever happen that technology SMEs and manufacturing SMEs can work together, ever. What is happening in large organizations also, when you see, and there is nothing against big companies, but the orders are given. So even in government, they would go to TCS, Wipro, Infosys, IBMs. But there was a huge debate of doing some business with SMEs. But an IAS officer would think कि boss, अगर मैंने इसको प्रोजेक्ट दिया और वो फेल हो गया तो मैं कहां जाऊंगा? अगर कोई लार्ज कंपनी फेल हो जाती है तो एटलीस्ट माय नेक इज नॉट ऑन स्लॉट. सो आई थिंक इट इज एवरीथिंग इज I have to save my backside, and therefore I'm not willing to take any adventurous decision. So whenever we are complaining about manufacturing guys are not adopting to technology, the owner has to sit, quality has to percolate from the top. So if you really want to make any change, you come along with the owner. Owner should come along with the technology guy and say, let both of us go into this event. Let us understand, you explain to me, apna kya fayda hai, what is there in for me? I think this is one question that everybody is asking and should ask. What is there in for me? And if I can get a reasonable answer, because I am also witnessing what this guy is promising, I can take a decision. And these are experiments. You need not. I have examples of companies in Aurangabad MIDC, right? Waluj. So there was an HR solution that they were struggling. The gate was 20 minutes away from the workstation. I mean, the machine. And people, when they enter and swipe their card at the gate, their presence is filled. By the time they walk in, they wait, they stop for cigarette, they stop for reading newspaper, they go to canteen and have coffee, and then they come to the machine. And there was a lag of almost an hour, and the productivity was going down. Now this owner wanted some solution to be brought to this situation. He did not go to any large company. He went to a college, and 2 kids who were doing an HR ERP solution that they are working on, they said, come to my premise, I will incubate you. This is my problem statement, try and solve this problem. And those 2 guys are today solving all the HR related problems through their technology solution, which is co-created with the company, and they are providing. So slowly, if you are not comfortable with technology today, start experimenting. Don't commit large money to a solution. Start. Then today there are startups who are longing. In fact, as Cornerstone, we have created a platform called the Anchors Club, and we are trying to see if the startup ecosystem can be connected with the SME ecosystem. But there are no takers on that side. There are 1,000 crore company again in Aurangabad who are still managing their payroll through the register and the Excel, but they don't want to take a solution. So it's a mindset issue, and we just can't blame anybody else but ourselves.
Jain sir, it's 5:30. We need to start winding down.
Yes.
So, are there any questions, or we will be winding up? If there are any other questions, make sure that you send it to us, and we will be helping you with the answers through our esteemed speakers for today. And on behalf of IMC, let me thank both our speakers for wonderful interaction. And the session was filled with stories. The session was filled with the amazing insights on the entrepreneurship and innovation clubbed with, this in the story form. I mean, I was completely engrossed into whatever learnings I've taken. In fact, I've written down each and everything what I could imbibe from today's session, and I'm sure everybody has here taken the notes for sure.
It has been, sorry, Divya.
Yes,
it
go
has
ahead,
been very engaging session.
Very engaging.
Oh, very kind of you, sir. Thank you.
So,
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Rajiv ji. Swami ji, thank you very much.
So I forgot to thank IMC at the beginning. So thank you very much, IMC. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, Jain Saab. Thank you, lovely ladies, for the opportunity.
And sir, more than organizers, we are also, entrepreneurs looking for solutions. And a lot of things that you said today are going to help in what we are doing.
Lovely.
Absolutely,
All the best.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
With this, Absolutely. Thank you everyone for being here, the audience, the entrepreneurs, the budding startups, and I'm sure see the already the feedbacks have started coming in the chat box. Thank you everyone for being here. And let me tell you, next Wednesday, that is on 17th, we have a session on the taxation, the compliance, which is again the backbone for the for any startup, any business, any SME. So don't miss out to register for that session as well. After that, we have a very, very unique session on the HR aspects of the of the startups. And after that, the last session will be on the leadership. So with this entire entrepreneurship series of making Navi Mumbai as the hub of the entrepreneurship hub of in the entire ecosystem. And when in fact, let me tell you, when we had Mr. R. Ramanan coming in from Niti Aayog, and the way he has given the insights on the entrepreneurship and the opportunities which are available for the entrepreneurs of Navi Mumbai, I'm sure lots and lots of people, lots and lots of students, the young entrepreneurs are coming out and thinking on those lines. And let me also tell you that IMC is always available in Navi Mumbai to help the entrepreneurs to create that ecosystem. And again, connecting, mentoring, hand-holding the startups, the SMEs and MSMEs. So be connected. Any questions with respect to these sessions, any questions with respect to the memberships, Nitin is always available at IMC
so here
office.
One thing, Nitin, in fact, Nitin, you have been sharing all your chats personally with me. You need to share the chats with everyone in the Zoom. So all I have been getting your chats. So all the members must be, all the people must be thinking Nitin Bhapkar ki contact details. Please share it with everyone because I have been getting it.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you to our eminent speakers today. Thank you for taking out time for these kind of lovely interactions, stories, and ultimately the impact of what innovation and technology is bringing on the businesses today. So thank you, everyone. And if there are any other questions, please post that to Nitin, to Shweta, or to me on the personal messages or on the email IDs from which you have been getting emails from Nitin and the IMC team. So stay connected, and thank you everyone for attending this session today.
Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Shweta, for organizing these events, weekly events, very successfully, very systematically. Thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you, sir. Our pleasure, our duty, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.